Howdy, this is Jim Rutt. The following is a continuation of my podcast with artificial intelligence researcher Ben Goertzel.
Let's move on to the next subject I wanted to talk about, which is your SingularityNET project. This is really interesting. The idea of building a very broad network that anybody can build AI components on, they can work with each other, et cetera. Why don't you give us a good detailed description of SingularityNET and what its status is currently and what you see going forward?
Absolutely. So SingularityNet, it manifests some ideas I've had for a long time and that I was prototyping in the WebMind project in the late 90s, because WebMind was a distributed network of sort of autonomous agents cooperating together to manifest some emergent intelligence. OpenCog took some of those ideas and tried to make them sort of more orderly and structured, where you have a very carefully chosen set of AI algorithms acting on a common knowledge store, much more carefully designed and configured to work closely and tightly together than anything in WebMind was. SingularityNet goes the other direction. It's like, let's take these different AI agents, take a whole population of AI agents, each doing AI in their own way, and they don't necessarily need to know how each other are working internally. They can interact via APIs. If they want to share state, they can do that too, but it's optional. And then this society of minds can have a payment system where the AIs in that society pay each other for work or get paid by external agents for work. So this society of minds is an economy of minds, and the economic aspect can be used to do, assignment of credit and assessment of value within the network, which is an important aspect of cognition as well. And then, this economy of minds is both, it's another approach to getting emergent AI where you have a more loosely coupled network of AI agents, so you have an OpenCog, but which can still manifest some emergent cognitive dynamics in its collective behaviors. But then also you have potentially a viable commercial ecosystem wherein anyone can put an AI agent into this network, and the AI agent can then charge external software processes for services, and the AIs in the network can charge each other for services. And then, this becomes a marketplace. And however, the infrastructure that we've chosen to implement this was based on, the idea that this agent system is a self-organizing system without a central controller, just as, the brain doesn't have a central cell, right? The brain has some aspects that are in more of a controlling role than others, but it's a massively parallel system where each part of the brain is, getting energy on its own and metabolizing and, in some sense, guiding its own interactions. So we use blockchain as part of the plumbing for the SingularityNet infrastructure to enable a bunch of AI agents to interact in a way that has no central controller, but is, heterogeneously controlled. And the AI agents in the network, sort of in a participatory, democratic-ish way, they interact and guide the interaction of the overall network. And I think it's both a good way to architect, a self-organizing agent system moving from general intelligence toward AGI. And it's a very interesting way to make a practical marketplace for AIs, which, potentially can be more heterogeneous in what kinds of applications it serves and in who gets to profit from the AI that's done than the current mainstream AI ecosystem, which is highly centered on a few large corporations.
Yeah, the vision's obviously just astounding in that on two fronts. One, this idea that anybody can play, pieces can be added, there can be explorations by AIs to find out what other pieces of AI might be synergistic to their own capabilities. The last point you made, that this is an ecosystem not controlled by the big boys, is something I found very attractive when I first learned about SingularityNet, because we are in a world where it seems that the deep progress in AI is being more and more concentrated into fewer and fewer hands. And SingularityNet looks like one of the relatively few counter trends to that concentration. Could you Talk a little bit more about that and why you think it might be important.
Yeah, I think the importance of decentralized and open approach to AI is multifold, right? It's important right now because it can enable AI to do more good in the world than is going to be possible with the centralized hegemonic approach we see in the industry now. It's also important if you think that, the current internetwork of narrow AIs is going to evolve into tomorrow's emergent AGI, because, if you look at what's the current network of centralized AIs doing, I like to summarize it as selling, spying, killing, and gambling, right? It's advertising, it's making surveillance systems, it's controlling weapons systems, and it's doing financial prediction, risk management for large banks and so on. So, this, selling, spying, killing, and gambling are part of the human condition. We're not going to stamp them out. I don't know if we want to stamp them out, but I don't want them to be as large a percent of the AI ecosystem as they are right now. You'd rather see more like educating, curing of diseases, doing science, helping old people, creating art, both because these are cool things to have around more on the planet now, and because if our narrow AIs are going to turn into AGIs, I'd rather have the AGIs doing these compassionate and aesthetically creative things than, serving the goals of current corporations and large government. So I think, there's a near-term importance, and then there's a little more speculative importance in terms of the potential role of current narrow AIs in giving rise to tomorrow's AGIs. And, if you look at how the current hegemonic situation has come about, it's not really because of bad guys, it's because of self-organizing socioeconomic dynamics. The Google founders, pretty good people, they're trying to make money like all business people are. They're also genuinely trying to build AI that will do good for the world. But the way they're doing it is the way a public company has to do it, they're trying to do good for the world as a side effect of generating shareholder value. And the way they're generating shareholder value is kind of the way they have to do it. They're taking whatever worked and they're just doubling down on it. They're trying a lot of side projects too, but in the end, ads are what's making them money. It's their fiduciary duty to be using their best AI for that as much as makes sense. And if you look in China, Xi Jinping is doing some things I don't agree with. On the other hand, Chinese government has lifted way more people out of poverty over the last 30 years than every other part of the world combined. And I think, Chinese government is genuinely trying to advance the total utility of the Chinese population. And they see that AI is very helpful for this. And, they think building a surveillance state is in the interest of the utilitarian total good of the Chinese population. We're not looking at psychopaths who are trying to develop AI to build the Terminator or something. We're looking at people developing AI in the interest of generally beneficial-minded goals, but there's these network effects involved, and that's both good and bad, right? The network effects allow a smart AI to accumulate more and more resources that can partly go toward building smarter and smarter AI. But the network effects also mean that whoever, succeeds first with narrow AIs in particular tasks that lends themselves to rapid deployment of narrow AI for useful ends, whoever succeeds first is going to accumulate a hell of a lot of money, a hell of a lot of data to train the AIs, a hell of a lot of processing power to feed the AIs. And there's a powerful network effect there. And this is what Google has been benefiting from. The Chinese government is benefiting from this. Facebook is, Microsoft is. IBM, for example, isn't so much because they've been deploying AI in markets in ways that don't lead to these tremendous network effects. And that's caused them to fall behind in spite of having a lot of smart AI people and some AI technologies that are very good at certain things. One of the cool things with SingularityNET is intrinsically, at least, the logic of SingularityNet's economic model has a lot of network effects to it. It's a double-sided platform like Uber, Airbnb, or Amazon's neural net model marketplace. it's a double-sided platform in the sense that one side is the supply of AI that developers have put into the network. Another side is the demand, which is product developers who want to use AIs in the network to fuel their products aimed at end users, right? And so that's something that can be very powerful if you can get it off the ground. So if you get enough demand, you can get more supply. You get enough supply, you can get more demand. If you get this going enough, it can take off really, really fast. So there's the possibility to use the same network effect trick that Google, Facebook, and then Tencent, Baidu, Alibaba, and so on have used to get this decentralized network of AIs off the ground. And, it doesn't have to displace totally the big tech companies to have a huge impact. We can look at Linux as an example. I mean, Linux didn't obsolete Apple and Microsoft. They're still making money, trillion-dollar companies. But on the other hand, Linux, it's the number one mobile operating system. It's dominant in the server market. It's big, and the open source ethos behind it has been huge. It's been hugely valuable for the developing world, for the maker and robotics community, right? So similarly, if we can get a decentralized AI network to have a major role in the way that AI is utilized in the world, then that's going to be tremendous, even if it doesn't obsolete the hegemony. Growing that network with the double-sided network effect is certainly a practical challenge, right? And that's what we're working on with the SingularityNET platform now.
One thing I'd like to pick up on the SingularityNET model, you described how you have a potential network effect around a two-sided market. Those are indeed very, very powerful business models. Much of my business career was actually around trying to build two-sided markets, and sometimes we were successful and sometimes we weren't. Usually it meant investing in building one side of the market first. Could you talk a little bit about your go-to-market strategy for SingularityNET and how you expect to achieve a critical mass somewhere to get the two-sided market start the cycle?
There's a couple different strategies we're applying here, but I would say if it's one side of the market first, we're essentially focusing on building the demand side of the market first and then creating the supply internally initially, because we have a bunch of AI developers on the SingularityNET Foundation team who are largely people I've worked with on previous projects. And so we're able to build some AI ourselves to put in the network. And then we are doing AI developer workshops, and we're putting some requests for AI on the platform and then sending people with tokens to put new AI into the network. So we're not totally neglecting the supply side, but the demand side is getting more of a big push in a couple forms. So one of those forms is we're spinning off a for-profit company called Singularity Studio, which is a whole separate enterprise aimed at building commercial products aimed at the enterprise on top of the SingularityNET platform. And initially, we're building a product suite aimed at fintech and the finance industry. So say you'll have a risk management product, which then, it would be subscribed to by a large financial firm to solve a problem in, say, hedging or credit risk assessment or something. But then on the back end, that product is getting its AI by making calls into the SingularityNET platform. So if this business succeeds in creating and selling, successful products initially to financial services, and after that, other vertical markets, Internet of Things, health tech, and so on, then, each product that's sold, the licensing fees for each year, a fraction that will be converted from fiat into AGI token and used to drive the AGI token-based market in SingularityNET. So that's one thing. The Singularity Studio, which we're currently pulling together, and we have some enterprise customers already for that. A couple that are publicly announced, but there's a bunch more big ones that we're working with. Are going to be announced in the next few months. We've also launched an accelerator called SingularityNET X Lab, where we're recruiting projects from the community that will build software products aimed at certain niches, again, using AI in the SingularityNET. And this, again, it's focused on the demand for the network side because they're building products on top of SingularityNET, but they also help with supply, because in most cases, the AI that we've put in there is being augmented by AI that this team puts in there also. And then the projects in the XLab incubator, so they're being, we can give them some tokens to help them get AI services on the network, and we can help them with publicity using our PR engine and help them with AI expertise where we can. So these are both efforts to kind of brute force the demand side. We're also talking to some investors on scaling up this accelerator / incubator effort where we'd be able to put some more money into seeding projects, leveraging the platform, using some investment money raised specifically for that purpose. So I think if we get the Singularity Studio building enterprise products, then getting some large enterprises using through these products, the SingularityNET, and then we get some smaller entrepreneurial products from the XLab Accelerator, then we're getting some serious utilization of the token. And if through these efforts we get serious utilization of the AGI token and the AGI token-based ecosystem, all of a sudden we have a utility token with actual utility, which is almost unheard of in the blockchain space, right? And this is going to attract a lot more attention in the blockchain community and hopefully in the AI community. And I think this will then incent more people to put their AI into the platform. We'll get some usage from the developer workshops we're doing, but in the end, having demand for the platform will it will give some extra appeal to developers, because then it's not only that they're putting their AI out there in a really cool, decentralized, democratically governed platform. There's an actual, market of customers who will pay them to use their AI, which is certainly the financial incentive only won't be enough for quite a while until there's a really huge market, but a decent financial incentive that's meaningful combined with the cool value and the political appeal of what we're doing, I think we'll be able to juice up the supply side a lot.
Well, this is a truly visionary project, which could change the world. There's a lot of will it works? Will you reach a critical mass? Does the token aspect get in the way, or does it add value? All unknown, but it's certainly a very interesting experiment worth trying.